Mirasee.
I'm Ron Kaufman, and you're listening to Making It. I run a business called Ron Kaufman Serve, Care, Love. We help leaders, teams, and organizations all over the world improve their service performance and build the kind of service cultures that deliver real value in communities for employees and for customers year after year. I went to a high school in Westport, Connecticut that happened to be the second high school in the world to learn the rules of the game called Ultimate Frisbee. That's when that global sport was just getting started. And if you meet me in person, you'll find that I'm quite short. And I wasn't going to play on the football, baseball, or basketball team, but the Frisbee team that was getting started was willing to have me. And I jumped in and learned how to play. And then I spent 2 years studying during my college years in Europe, and I took the rules of the game with me. And everything just spread from there, creating tournaments and clinics and family play days and festivals. And then I ended up in the Ultimate Frisbee Hall of Fame as a Johnny Appleseed for taking the sport out to the world. When I was invited to Singapore back in 1990, the government wanted to improve service education for the entire working population, hundreds of thousands of adults who had been trained to not make mistakes, do the right thing, get it right the first time, which was perfect for the factory environment that existed when I moved here. But all of that was moving to China. And all of the data entry back office operations was moving to India. So they needed to move up the value chain and teach the adult working population how to be more responsive, more collaborative, more proactive, more creative. And that meant thinking in a very different way. Now, I was a guy who knew how to get adults to learn how to play Frisbee, how to learn new games, how to do throws, how to do catches. And so while they had topic experts in service quality and service excellence, they didn't have anybody that knew how to take that and make it fun, to take that and make it engaging and participatory. So when I came here and they said they wanted to develop a service quality boot camp, and oh my gosh, it was like giving a kid a whole candy store. And I immediately started inventing games that would teach adults about seeing the world from someone else's point of view, about taking some creative action that would create more value for the person that you serve. And of course, you would then also be uplifted in the process because you'd feel better about yourself. And that's where the whole brand Uplifting Service came from. Do something that you love, charge high value, and then over-deliver and be just incredibly careful about, protective of, and invest constantly in your reputation. Do more than anybody asked you to do. Care about the impact of you in the world on other people. Really make the extra effort, go more than just the extra mile so that your life matters to the people who you come into contact with while you're alive, can make a bigger difference in the world that may even outlive you. Singapore has had a profound impact on my life in that it is an extraordinarily pluralistic society, multicultural, multiracial, multireligious, in a very volatile neighborhood, a tiny country, one little island that cannot afford to have a single enemy. And so everything about the way Singapore operates internally is to cultivate a sense of community and harmony and mutual respect. And then the way it contributes to the world is really devoted to trying to get everybody to get along a bit better. Well, that aligns completely with my own values. That's absolutely an expression on a national scale and ultimately on a global scale of what I think each and every one of us should be doing on an individual scale, which is appreciating the differences between us, respecting one another, and finding ways to create a good, successful future together. We are social creatures. We live in communities. We exist throughout our entire lives dependent upon, engaged with, contributing to others in the world. Our success is necessarily dependent upon their response to what it is that we do. So then for me, each and every time I have an opportunity to interact with someone, I start out fascinated to find out who is this someone that I'm going to be engaging with. What is it that they are interested? What are they concerned about? What do they care about? What's the background that they come from? Because the better I can understand the other person I'm working with, whether it's a vendor, a supplier, a customer, a client, or a member of my team, the more ready I will be to be able to take the kind of action that they will appreciate. That makes me more valuable. That makes us more valuable. And that is what contributes to the foundation of our success. Anyone who starts a business who asks themselves what is making it should take the question super seriously. For some people, making it could be creating a financial foundation for their family. Maybe it's taking care of their kids or their parents. For some, making it will be generating an entrepreneurial venture within a community where people are going to find good jobs. For some of us, making it will be being able to make a contribution to improving the world and addressing serious issues in some walk of life. In my particular case, I consider myself sort of a philosophical innovator who happens to also be a very engaging educator. And so I love taking these abstractions like service and care and saying, no, these do not belong only in the schools of philosophy. And it's not okay to have shallow definitions like the customer is always right, because we know that he's not. And he's not always a he either. So then somebody needs to dig into these areas that may not be considered academic and say, wait a minute. These are incredibly important for good human living together. And I've been privileged to be able to work on that in the domain of service for 30 years. And I'm now embarking on the next 30 years to do it in the domain of care. What's your contribution? What commitment do you have? What contribution do you want to make with your life? And let that be the expression of your business. That's how you're going to make it. I think authenticity is the new hallmark of the market, that people are going to be extraordinarily more discerning about where they take their custom, where they spend their money, where they give their social media accolades, what they talk about, what they refer, what they'll go back to, what they recommend, that people are no longer going to be satisfied with the flash in the pan or the shiny, sparkly object. That people are recognizing that our lives on this planet are more precious than that. It's not just an accumulation of toys. Remember that phrase, he who dies with the most toys wins? What a load of, and how bizarre that it was going to be a he in the first place. How about she who dies having created the most value and contribution to others wins because so many other people win. That's the way in which the market is changing. You can't just take what's already there and think you're going to do it well and make a great business. If you want to stand out in your field, you've got to become a designer, an innovator, a thinker, a creator, somebody who leads the field. So when I dug into this word care, I recognized that once again, very few people could give me even a working definition of what does it mean when we say, why should I care? What do you care about? How do you take good care? So I've studied it and I wrote this sentence. Care is concern and commitment to well-being. And now on the foundation of that, I'm building a whole new suite of intellectual property, services, and courses that will come in the future. All of that is driven by being on a mission to make a contribution during my lifetime, because your lifetime and my lifetime ends at some time, and you have an opportunity to make a contribution that matters while you're here. This is Ron Kaufman, and you've been listening to Making It. You can find me on the web at ronkaufman.com, RONKAUFMAN.com. I look forward to meeting you.
Making It is part of the Mirasee FM network, which also includes Course Lab and Just Between Coaches. This episode of Making It was assembled by Jeff Govertson. Cynthia Lamb produced the episode. Danny Bermant is our associate producer, and Danny Inney is our executive producer. So you don't miss the great episodes that are coming up on Making It, go ahead and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you're listening right now. And if you liked the show, please leave us a starred review. It's the best way to help us get these ideas to more people. Thank you, and we'll see you next time.